Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cold Reads, brought to you by Resonant Moon Audiobook Solutions. I am your host, Laura Nicole, and we don't have story tonight. In fact, all that we have tonight is a recap. It has been 31 long days of recording episodes for the dog days of podcasting, and I feel like I finished something. It's almost as good as finishing 30 days of yoga or something, except creatively. Anyway, so I brought back some of my cast from this past month to talk about the experience. So I'd like to just go down the line and everybody say your name and what you do, and we will start with my favorite person in the whole world, Papa Spence.
Oh, wow. I thought you were going to say Tim. Hi, this is Alan Spencer.
I've known you longer.
Hi, this is Alan Spencer. I'm a sysadmin by day, audio drama writer by night, occasional voice actor and gamer, and currently residing in a dry part of Texas.
Which I'm very grateful for. Yeah, and our hearts go out to everybody who is recovering from flooding. And we hope that you get the support that you need to get back on your feet. Next in line, we have my favorite person in Western Massachusetts, and that would be Genre.
I didn't know where Tim was from.
You had no idea where you were from, really?
No, where Tim was from. I was like, oh, does she mean? Oh man, this is gonna be awkward. My name is Genre. I'm director of programming at Valley Free Radio, and I run 2 radio shows and 4 podcasts. There's Press Start to Continue, which is video game music and nerdcore hip hop. There's Civil Politics, which is political stuff, and you can find all the stuff I do at planetside.pro.
At what? This is
Planetside. It is. I just finished it.
Oh, good. I will have to put it in the show notes.
It's planetside.pro.
Great. And then finally, but not least of all, maybe, I guess, words are sucking for me. But anyway, my favorite person in the state of Illinois, Jester.
Don't let Mark Kalita hear you say that, because he's up north of me.
Oh, well, see, I don't know that.
Well, now you do. So I'm one of your 2 favorite people from Illinois, right? Or 3, if you count my wife.
That would be 5, because my husband's best man and his wife live in Chicago.
So I'm one of a handful of people in Illinois.
But I've known you the longest, so that makes you my favorite.
Okay. Well, I do web stuff during the day for Caterpillar. By night, I'm a ninja. I do photography. I do audio drama. Right now, well, actually, I'll be going back eventually here this weekend and trying to finish up some Star Wars radio show that I wrote a year or 2 ago for Circus-13 Productions, which is my group. You can find us at Circus13Productions.com. For my photography, you can find me at photos.circus13productions.com. So, JesterVision is that one.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all so much for coming back. So really, this is just an open forum discussion about what we did so far with Cold Reads. Each of you answered my call when I said, "Hey, I'm going to do a show called Cold Reads, where I get some of my friends that do fun voices together and do a cold reading of my book so that I could get it out there. What do you guys think?" And you all were like, "Yeah, sure, totally." And I really appreciated that. So what did you all think about the experience?
Well, choose one of us to start talking.
Well, since you started first, I pick on you.
No, all right, no, Genre, start. Go ahead, Genre.
No, you started.
All right, not a problem. I actually enjoyed it because I go back to the very end of the live radio shows when I was growing up that we used to be able to hear on the radio. And then everything either went to pre-recorded, but TV shows a lot of times we're still doing live shows. So I really actually enjoyed this. It's an example of what I've had in my head to want to do with some of my audio drama stuff, where we actually do it like this online with just adding some sound effects or whatever else. Mm-hmm. And for those who haven't listened to all the different audio dramas that we have all been involved in from time to time, really, really go check them out, because I mean, Circus-13, Broken Sea audio productions, Darker Projects, all these things pulled together, in some cases, some of the live radio show kind of things. Well, not really live radio show. It's more like the old Detective Dragnet on-air series kind of things that that we sort of do. I really like that because it
does it have a nostalgia for you?
Yes, it does have that. It does have that, because I still quit laughing, Tim. I see you laughing.
Well, because I get the same thing because I listen to that stuff all the time.
Yeah.
I really, our beloved and dearly departed friend Bill Holwig really headed up a renaissance of the golden age of radio with his show OTR Swagcast.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how I was introduced to a lot of the shows from the golden age. So that's how I was introduced to the original Avengers, to I Love a Mystery and things like that. I loved that stuff. And then podcast shows like the Thrilling Adventure Hour came out, where they did have a live audience and live Foley artists and a live orchestra. And I'm like, oh, I wish I was there. And they're no longer performing anymore. But audio dramas have an ability to do other things besides, what you can get live, which first and foremost in my mind is connecting people in one show from across the globe, which I think is magical.
Yeah, for me, that's one of the things with with this, why I liked it, because it was different, is usually with like all the shows I've done, it's like we put out a casting call, people record their lines, they send them in. So, I mean, there's a full cast with, as you said, from around the world, but I'm the only one listening to single lines at a time. This one, it's brought us all together at once so we can sit and chat before and after. And well, occasionally during, like when you got the blue screen of death the other day.
Oh, so that was terrible.
So we started talking about like, yeah, what's your favorite fantasy book that you read recently? So we were doing that, and then we ended up just picking it up, and then you came back in.
Yeah, glad you went on to say that you've read recently when you said what's your favorite fantasy. That could have been awkward.
Yeah. Now, Jamra, you are not yet part of this audio drama club.
Wait,
so, did you zone out?
No, I had a fan on, so I had it muted, and now you're like, oh, not yet. I'm like, wait, am I getting shanghaied right now? What's going on?
Well,
I'm gonna get hit in the back of the head with a blackjack. I'll wake up in a recording studio.
Well, I mean, that is also possible. I am going into the recording studio tonight.
So
I might just have
recruiting for sure.
Exactly.
I better wear a helmet.
Very caveman-esque. You bash him on the head and you drag him by the hair or whatever you can grab. Usually it's a sweatshirt because we like our sweatshirts up here. And you drag them back to your recording studio and you strap them to the chair and you say, those are lines. Read them.
See, I had no idea what was going on in this industry. This is crazy.
Oh, yeah. It's super abusive, but everybody ends up brainwashed and loves it by the end.
Oh, well, there's not much to watch there, so it's fine.
But so you have not been in an audio drama as of this moment in time.
Not officially, no.
So what was what did you think about the idea and then the execution, sometimes very last minute execution of the show.
I mean, I was thinking about what the other guys were saying about like what like radio shows and audio dramas and what you're saying about like audio drama podcasts. I've never really been into those, but I love cartoons and animation.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since I was wee, so sometimes I would be watching cartoons and I'd like close my eyes and just listen to how people were talking and everything like that. So and I try to like mimic voices and everything. So this was really fun because I can actually use like the stupid skills that I built up just to actually do a thing instead of just like speaking in a Cartman voice just to myself.
Yeah. Well, and I like that. You know, I also started learning voices very early on, thanks to someone who's currently on this podcast.
Wait, Tim?
But one of my fondest memories of me and my dad, I have 3 younger siblings. And when they were wee, this would be like 20 years ago now, if you want to make everybody feel old. And my dad and I were trying to entertain the younger siblings on the way to Corpus Christi for my birthday.
Oh, yeah.
And they were big into VeggieTales. And because we watched them with the young ones, my father and I would sing many of the songs in the voices, such as our favorite French. Are they peas? Are they grapes?
Peas.
What are they? Yes,
I think of them peas.
Grapes aren't vegetables.
Well, they had peaches and stuff. And to this day, I will still sing "Where Is My Hairbrush."
That's world breaking. No.
But so we were on this long road trip, and we would have to keep keep walking, but you won't knock down the wall. Keep walking, but she isn't gonna fall. Oh, Tim is a puppy. I got distracted by the 4-legged furries.
You know, Jenna, you speaking about you're doing listening to cartoons and cartoon voices and everything else.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know if you noticed, but Tim's eyes lit up. I'm sitting here watching him. He's like, "Oh, we have to talk."
Well, because of that, there's 2 reasons. One, I've got a whole bunch of old classic cartoons like Fang Face, Captain Caveman, Godzilla.
Yes!
I mean, just a ton of them. And every week, my son and I, Asher, he just turned 9. Every week, we take at least 1 hour to make sure that we watch 3 episodes, so it comes out to about an hour. So he's getting to watch a bunch of these old cartoons, and he loves most of them so far.
Oh God, the old Hanna-Barbera stuff is just amazing.
Old Hanna-Barbera is great. Old, like classic Looney Tunes is how I got a lot of my classical literature and music education.
A lot of people our age was like that. So sorry I interrupted you, Tim.
That's fine. I mean, we all get excited about this stuff, but the second reason is something I talked with Mr. Kalita about. Oh my gosh, a couple of years ago, and I still want to do it. Is we talked about doing a Circus-13 cartoon action hour where we do like Thundarr the Barbarian, Space Ghost, the Herculoids. We write one of those of our own that's only 20 minutes long, and we do like 2 of like the classic ones, and then we create a new Circus-13 one that's kind of like that. It's a little science fiction, and it takes like 20 minutes, and so we have the Circus-13 cartoon action hour, and Mark's like, "Oh my gosh, I am so for that."
That's awesome.
Can it be like Space Ghost Coast to Coast so that it can be like adult content? Because that was my favorite spin-off of Space Ghost was Space Ghost Coast to Coast, which was totally inappropriate.
Oh, my favorite was C Lab 2021.
Yes!
Oh.
So we're talking more like the 80s action cartoon stuff, like the original Space Ghost, not like the Space Ghost Coast or Cartoon Planet, which, oh my God, Asher loves Cartoon Planet, and especially like the music. I've got Space Ghost Musical Barbecue, and he knows most of the words. He tried getting his class to sing it for like the school performance last year, but they couldn't find any of them just like online to be able to download to be able to sing them. So,
can I tell you a quick story about Hanna-Barbera cartoons?
Sure. Yes.
Super quick. So, so Thundarr the Barbarian. He has the Sun Sword, and he lives in a post-apocalyptic world because of a meteor that destroyed everything in 1997. So I was watching Cartoon Network. It was 1997. And I was watching it. I always get really into what I'm watching all the time. I just try to like throw myself into that world. So I get freaked out a little bit. I was like a senior in high school. There was no reason for that. I was like, oh Jesus, it's 1997. When is it supposed to hit? Where am I gonna find an Ookla?
The Earth will be gone in a few seconds.
They stole my Alludium-26 explosive space modulator. God, Mel Blanc was a freaking genius, by the way.
Oh.
He was the voice of Captain Caveman, as well as like Speed Buggy too. A bunch of those. I never realized that. You know, watching as a kid, I'm like 6, 7 years old, didn't think about it, but then watching it with Asher, I'm like, boy, that voice sounds familiar. It sounds like Mel Blanc.
Yeah, and I think that the talent of voice acting has really changed, but has more venues to be expressed now, because not only do you have podcasts and you have animation and TV shows, you've also got video games, which is an interactive way to use voices. My favorite voice actors play D&D on Geek and Sundry, and there's another one, Claudia Black, who's in like every game I love. And I'm just now realizing that, but she plays Morrigan in the Dragon Age series, and most famously for me anyway. So
I just want to go back a bit, talking about like old school voice actors. June Foray. Yeah, she just passed away like a few weeks ago.
But like she was still working at like 90.
Oh yeah, I mean, people would say that she's not the female Mel Blanc. Mel Blanc is the male June Foray. I mean, she was. I was looking at her resume. It's insane how many voices across so many companies that she was doing.
Oh yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, she was Granny. She was Granny Gummy. Sorry, I just get really into.
She was Rocky, yeah. And I'm pretty sure she was Judy Jetson.
Maybe.
She was one of the Jetsons.
Yeah, probably. I mean, she was one of everything.
So
She was all over Disney Afternoon. I know that.
I have a question for you, Laura.
No.
You've asked all of us about Cold. How do you think it went?
I'm just super happy that it's done.
Oh no!
The engineer burn.
I do. So let me give you guys a little bit of behind the scenes. So one of the things I had to do, first of all, was create a script for the show notes, and then create a script for the end of the show, and then I had to do all this organizational stuff to collect a stable of voice actors and to collect a bunch of writers who might want to do future shows. But I wanted to do my story because my story was already written. I could do it throughout the month of August. just to give an example of what the format of the show would be. And then I had to remember to go and email people, be like, hey, are you available? And so usually on a Friday night or a Saturday, the cast who had said they were available on a specific day, because I had to do a doodle poll to get all that information.
Oh yeah, they said no.
Yeah. So I would email everybody who was available on that specific day, be like, hey, you said you're available on this day. Are you still available on this day? You want to be on the show? Come on, you know you want to be on the show. And then sometimes I would forget to email on a specific day or a specific day. So then it would be like, hey, who's available? Are you free right now? Are you free right now? Are you free at 8:30? So it was a lot of organizational chaos.
Mm-hmm.
But I got somebody for almost every single chapter, except for the ones where I was kind of throw my hands up in the air and say, to hell with this, I'm just doing it myself because I'm tired or something.
Screw it, we'll do it live.
Yeah, exactly. I am still trying to watch my language on the show, even though I have expressly said at the beginning of the show that swears are allowed. I'm just trying not to go overboard with it, because otherwise I will. And then I have to put a language warning in the show notes, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, and that'll kill it. That's
yeah.
Oh, fire truck.
Oh, fire truck.
Yeah.
So anyway, so yeah, I think overall it went really well, and I'm super grateful for everybody who lent their time and voices, because it made the depth of the story that much greater than just me doing my versions of voices. Because I don't like being a showman. What other questions do you have for me? No. I mean, really, we've covered a nice gambit, and we're closing in on the half-hour mark. Does anybody else have any final thoughts as to whether or not, you would do this again with not necessarily a continuing story, but maybe short stories from the public domain? Absolutely.
Yeah, we'd totally love to do that.
Definitely.
And what about writing stories?
That's sort of in the process of something. So yes,
like a short story. Because right now
a bad one, I can do it.
Sure.
If it's 3 paragraphs, yeah, not a problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
3 paragraphs.
I'm kind of like, so I want to do a show every other week. I know I'm going to have a story from AF Grappin for late September, but I need one for early September.
I can take Asher's that he wrote for school last year and spruce it up a little bit, add some dialogue. It's fantasy because he got interested in D&D, and now he's playing D&D with us. Yay! He started at 8 years old, so maybe I'll take that and add some dialogue spots here and there. And
is it under 4 pages?
With the way I can rewrite it, yes. The way he's got it now, it's like he had to double space it and everything. But if you're a fan of Axe Cop, think of like an Axe Cop D&D, and we could probably go about that level.
I think I just got an aneurysm. That's
so what? Yeah, that would rock, actually, if you wanted to do that. I mean, it doesn't matter. Good is in the ear of the listener. But really, it's about the experience and about cold reading and about playing some stuff. And that would be a cool birthday present for me. Just saying. My birthday's on Wednesday.
Happy early birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. Early.
Yay!
I'll wait till Wednesday.
Thanks. Yeah. Facebook will tell you.
You guys are talking about this is really interesting, the cold reads. I'm like, this is the experience I have with this, so clearly this is what it's like. This is the only time I've done really voice acting with voice actors, so yeah, this is voice acting, right? Yeah.
We're going to have an education later tonight if you show up at the station.
Oh, yeah.
If I forget my helmet or I don't dodge the poison dart that you
Here's the thing about voice acting that I've, as an engineer, and I'm sure Tim has gone through this too. Every time you look at a line or you're looking at a script, a lot of times you do every line like 3 times because you give the engineer or whatever, chances to take a look at it, and fit it in, the way the engineer thinks. Now, that may not have been, if the engineer is not the author, that may not have been the way the author wanted it to go. And the same thing works like in movies and everything else. But when you're doing it and it's just you and there's nobody else playing off of, like what we did here with Laura doing the narration and Tim and Emily and everybody else and reading, it's a little weird because you're sitting there in the most soundproofed room you can possibly make, and then you're saying strange things that your neighbors are hearing vaguely through the walls.
Or screaming.
Or screaming.
I played James Bond for Casino Royale, and that torture scene, I sat and screamed for about 10, 12 minutes and hoped the cops didn't show up.
And, don't get me started on the erotica that I've had to do.
Ooh.
Dad, you don't need to know that. Block that from your memory.
What's that? I was drinking heavily. I couldn't hear you.
Very good.
Good. Anyway, so we do need to wrap. So I will go ahead and go down the line and let everybody pimp their sites, as it were. And we'll start with Tim because you don't have your microphone muted.
Circus-13 Productions.com, JesterVision Photography. Either of those, you can find me.
Fantastic. Genre.
You can find pretty much all the stuff I do at Planetside Productions. That's planetside.pro.
And Alan.
You can find a lot of my voice acting work, either writing or whatever, at Broken Sea Audio Productions. And I think I've done a couple of things for Circus-13 in the past. I can't remember. I know I've done something recently. Tim's sitting there looking his head, maybe. But anyway, that's where you can find my audio drama stuff. For now, I am working on putting together a new website since I'm writing so much new content that I'm going to try to put something together. So look forward to it.
I approve. And you can find me at resonantmoon.com. I do audiobook review and editing, as well as podcast review and editing. You can find me on Twitter, where I mostly talk about Dungeons & Dragons, Critical Role, and this show. And my handle is at L Nicole Audio. You can find all the links that everybody has listed on the show notes. If you would like to be a part of our community, maybe get in on some of our some of the casting calls, submit a short story, you can either email me at lauranicoleaudio@gmail.com, or you can join our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/coldreads. And I will occasionally post, hey, who wants to come be on the show, like I did tonight. If you really enjoyed Stonebriar Casefiles, you can purchase it on Amazon. It is available in paperback and in EPUB. The link is in the show notes. And I do want to let you know that this show is covered under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 International License. That means that you can download it, you can share it, you can repost it. Just don't change it. It's perfect the way it is, just like you. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to my fantastic guests for coming on again and reliving the show and the amazing things about voice acting. I will be back in approximately 2 weeks with hopefully a story by Asher and Tim Gillick. Yes, fingers crossed. So without further ado, say goodnight, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Almost in sync. Good night, everyone, and thanks for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe.